Today I will be interviewing Joshua Henry Batchelder. I think you're going to enjoy it. We're going to be doing a series of interviews with him. He's an older gentleman, very nice fella, very smart, got a lot going on. But today is episode 1, and as you saw, he is a modern day Renaissance man. He was born in 1931, but he's still a modern day Renaissance man. And we'll get into that. Let me add him to the stage, add the thing to the stage, and we'll begin listening to the interview. And you'll note that I'm at his house and I'm sitting off stage. Good morning, Joshua. How are you?
Well, happily doing quite well.
Oh, good, good. I know I call you Joshua and I also call you Josh. Most people call you Josh, and that's what you prefer, isn't that right?
Yes, it's less formal. Years ago, it was Joshua, and that's a long one. Josh is simpler and better and down to earth, and that's what I prefer to be myself.
There you go. There you go. Well, listen, this is being taped on April 21st, 2025, and that's for the purposes of posterity so that people watching this in the future will know. Um, and yesterday, I believe your daughter gave you a birthday
Oh, that was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. She is strong like me, so we not always agree on everything, politically and otherwise, but the love is there.
party. And how old were you yesterday?
Well, I just made it to 94.
And what is your goal to make it to the minimum age that you can?
I don't know, you shouldn't set a goal, but what I'm looking at, something over 100. I feel good for at least 10 more productive years accomplishing things. And after that, we'll see. But, give me a good party when I'm 100.
Oh yeah, now that will be a big blowout, I bet.
Because I remember Uncle Charlie and what he said that really stuck in my mind. You go about your life. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to do anything. Just day by day. And then one day you reach 100. And everybody comes to see you.
And he lived to 107, is that correct?
He went to 107 and a half, born in 1850, when the average guy died at 38. Now, of course, half of the children in the back then, they were dead within a year. So they had to keep having babies to make up for the ones they were going to lose.
Yeah, so the
But
early
that's back then. So after the medications
yeah,
came along from the 1940s on, it was slightly longer, but it's really very different today. Many
right,
more years, although I hear it's going down again, but that's another story
right,
for
right.
another day.
Well, uh, you have been involved in many different things through your life. You your father died when you were 16. That was a huge blow that
It was.
you're only just now in the last 3 or 4 years starting to understand the impact it had on your life.
Yes. A lot of thought, chasing, a whole lot. And he was out there who set me on a good course and then left me to do a lot of reading to figure out who was he when he was single before he met my mother, before his dalliance with a Canadian showgirl, right the very year that he graduated from law school at Harvard. He opens his office where he's the rest of his life, where I've been a traveler ever since, but we're very much alike on basic personality. And that December that he graduates from law school, he marries this Minnie like out of Popeye.
Well, that's about your father.
That's
What
rather
about
strange,
you?
but
Yeah,
true.
yeah. And so you're a lot like your father. Y'all like the women. Is that what you're saying?
I'm afraid he did, and I had my 14 years of being single between marriages. I have divorce experiences
Twice.
twice. One, she needed to have to escape the strength, excuse me. Most people can't stand me more than 45 minutes. On compatibility, I started studying it then when I made a mistake jumping into another marriage for a short term. And then I started serious study of compatibility. I took too much for granted as a younger man.
Well, a lot of young people do.
Well, I did.
Well, I hope that young people watching this are going to say, especially young men, are going to say, maybe I could learn a thing or two from the mistakes that you made.
I
You
would
know?
certainly hope to. You see, the personalities are different. There are those people that can watch others that are more objective and learn by others' experience. It seems I've had to touch the paint and make sure it's wet. And so, with like considering all that stuff, oh hell, I do learn from mistakes, but I have to live a long time to learn of all the mistakes I can make.
Well, let's hope you live past 100 then so you can have time to do that.
Yes, to tell my story, it takes years. It's a lifetime, but you don't have a lifetime, and I don't have another lifetime. I can just give you some of the memories. I can give you some of the things I will never forget.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's cover a few little things, and then we'll jump into some other stuff. But you were your first marriage produced 4 children, and it was what, 24 years long?
Yes, and we got married very quickly after 61 days. Actually, I was flying for the Air Force and I burst my eardrums. It's the first time I slowed down in several years with the Air Force. When from a rapid descent in an airplane, both eardrums burst, and so I had to go to the doctor once a week, and I was free. And I date this young gal who's barely 18 at Valdosta State College, and we see each other for the next, well, 59 of the 61 days. The other 2 days she's out of town. But we were spiritually connected, honestly. It was true.
Yeah.
And we were very different, but very spiritually connected.
You were spiritually connected and you were very different, but there came a point where those differences could no longer be managed. And so that's just the nature of relationships, and
Yes.
lots of people go through them. Some can make those differences, revel in the differences, and others feel like the differences are holding them back. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I would certainly agree. And as I say, being the impulsive sort that I told you a few moments ago that I am, however, when I butt my head against the wall too many times, like a bull as a Taurus, born in April of 1931 for you folks that are a little bit younger. Yes, but I had great difficulty because I took up yoga. I was 258 pounds at 6'3", and falling asleep on the couch after being busy at several things at a time, flying with the Air Force, selling successfully insurance and real estate and all that stuff. So I took up yoga, and it helped me to be less impulsive, or at least to slow down, not to have a meat on every meal, not to be in a big hurry, impulsive, and to laugh at myself and other people with passive meditation. And that was the beginning of another level.
Another level of.
Another level of growth and understanding and looking at myself, passive meditation. You can laugh at yourself. Hatha yoga, it's called.
Wait. Let me
Yes,
put Hatha, Hatha.
yes.
That's a particular style of yoga.
I'd say
Hatha.
yes,
Okay.
that's correct. That's correct. It's exercise and letting go, and then I learned alternate uh, breathing uh, that opens up and relaxes your lung and allows you to take in more air, more oxygen, and to watch and look at yourself and play back your world and then play back others and see how ridiculous it can be, how funny in a way you are yourself and others, but you don't get resentful like you can, which I learned from my handwriting analysis skills that began when my daughter was born. I stopped flying for the Air Force. I was down on my last mission at San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I went for this Austrian lady in the lobby there. We stayed over in the big hotel there, and down in San Juan, Puerto Rico, overnight for a crew rest. and she read my personality. And
she did a handwriting analysis of you?
Yes, she wrote the book,
Oh.
a pen in hand, and she analyzed me with several other skills too, and hit me dead on. When I got back, and that was the last mission I flew as an air navigator for round the world flying for 10 years or more for the Georgia Air National Guard Air Force, active duty frequent, when I wasn't selling insurance or real estate. And I went back and took a 2-week course, uh, 10 lessons I took. So, in learning the basics. And then I went for the full course. But I was so busy doing everything. I wrote and told him I wasn't going to do it in 18 months. I was enjoying it too much. Became a passion so early that I wasn't going to hurry it. I was going to slow down and savor that new skill where I could see myself like getting on the scales. And a certain letters, the French School of Individual Stroke Trait Analysis. You get on the scales, the needle points to the weight you are, it's hard to argue. Same way in handwriting analysis. You look at those strokes, scientifically figured from many, many sessions, beginning in France, the French school, later on the German school. Then I put them together with another third technique. It took me to the next level. Interpreting.
We're going to actually do a larger episode about the handwriting and the wheel analysis that he's getting ready to talk about. This video is an introduction just to the man. And so hang tight on that. In case you want to know any more about it, you can visit his website at the screen on the scroll at the bottom. Don't they call that a chyron? Will have his website address and his email address. You can get more information there. Now back to Joshua.
Next level of interpreting.
Yes, by using another projective technique, which is, and it changes more rapidly than handwriting, which is more fixed. We're used to doing it. It changes more rapidly, called the wheel, a 1-minute projective technique evolved from the Hindu mandala by a board-certified psychiatrist. But I'm not a psychiatrist, never wanted to be. I have training in social and personality. I got a degree in it, but it didn't feed my family. Becoming a good salesman of real estate did. And it went on from there.
Now, I want to back up. You just said something a second ago.
Yes.
You said a 1-minute projective technique. What did you mean by 1 minute?
Because the analyst, in this case, Dr. Pecci, and it's like I say, he didn't ask his first-time patients. And because of intrusive questions, 3/4 historically, back in his time, some 50 years ago when he started being an analyst, back in those days, they asked and they still do, ask a lot of questions, and that means 3/4 of them back then.
3/4 of the patients.
Of the first visit patients never come back.
Right.
He bypassed all of that stuff. And he was able.
How did he bypass it?
And in 1 minute, when they drew their idea of a wheel, spontaneous, whatever feels right on a blank piece of paper, whatever feels right, you draw that. And when you're through, sign on the bottom of the page, date it. Tell me whether you're right-handed, I can see left. And did you draw your wheel perimeter counterclockwise if you're right, drawing people to you? Or did you draw that perimeter of the wheel clockwise? If you're right-handed, you're pushing where you're left-handed, it's reverse.
Okay, but I want to get back to that 1 minute. What do you mean by 1 minute?
Thank you.
Who's 1 minute?
Thank you. The analyst can see it in 1 minute.
Okay,
it's going to take minutes to explain.
Well, explaining it you can't completely do because it's a long process. But the drawing of it takes as long as the person needs to do it.
Exactly. Don't hurry them.
Wait. In one sitting.
That's correct.
Boom. No interruption by the analyst. Just draw it and be done.
You do whatever feels. Is it a wagon wheel? Is it a circle? It's whatever feels right to you. Everybody's different, and you'll see very few wagon wheels and very few circles. You'll see all sorts of other things and personalities. Everybody's unique is a great lesson of handwriting analysis.
I bet of all the wheels that you've seen through
Hundreds of thousands, actually.
yes, that you've never seen two that are alike.
Exactly, nor handwriting either.
And no, this is true.
And every time you write, it's a little different. But the signature is your most practiced thing. And that is not most people. There's some differences in there. It's world see me this way. But the longer you write, you got to be yourself. So the body of the handwriting and a letter, if you have a signature, is going to be more you than what you want the world to see you as.
Well, that brings up, I saw an interview of Donald Trump recently where somebody, because, we've been seeing him sign his signature with those black markers, and it's very strong and bold and pointy, and you can probably explain it better. But somebody asked him, said, have you always signed like this? And he said, no. He looked back from contracts he signed through the years, and this is a new way of him seeing himself here in the last probably 10, 15 years.
So you read about that or you heard about it? I certainly understand it.
I saw the interview of him saying
that. How exciting.
Yes. And he just went, I don't know.
He was too busy to answer me for he and his wife that I wanted to analyze.
Well, yeah, but but
I still see his signature.
Yeah, no.
And hers.
And hers, yeah.
She was so much like him, and was it third or fourth wife? But she understands him very well. They understand each other. So she's able to help him tremendously. And what a talent they both are and how different they are, but yet their basic vertical writing and heavy writing, emotionally, they have an extraordinary memory of what happens to them.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting.
It's very deep. They don't get over things easily.
No.
And they can be explosive because they're vertical writers, accumulating all these experiences. And when you accumulate that many experiences, some little thing breaks it down because you're really more objective than most people realize. And then you start, when you explode, when the dam bursts and the water comes over the dam, because you've accumulated so much, you got to get it out. But he has to emote is the word, all the time, more often, because he's got so much stuff to unload.
Yeah.
It's a heavy burden. And that's why I think he doesn't sleep so long. And how he stays as energetic as I cannot fully understand.
Yeah.
What an energy.
Well, he takes after his father. His father was the same way.
I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me that. Yeah. But I know this. I have similar to him, but nowhere near as objective as he was. I've already told you that. But I do understand him from my studies of many people. And he's the extreme example of heavy vertical writing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you write like I do with more and you express more feelings, if some hurt hasn't stopped you from expressing it all, if you express more feelings, you're getting it out so that you are more forgiving. He's unforgiving because he doesn't get a chance to express his true feelings, inner feelings, which can be very different from the entertaining public self.
Yeah, the entertaining public self, the public self and the private self are often at war with each other. And a lot of people, not just Donald Trump, but a lot of people are that way. I myself am that way. Publicly, I can be this thing, I can do, which I've done. Put me in a crowd where somebody needs to take charge and make it a good happy party. I will do it if it benefits the group. And yet, personally, if I was to throw a party at my house, that's not what I would be doing.
It brings up a good point.
I would be letting other people do that.
It brings up a big point.
Which is?
It's this. I've told you a few minutes back that a signature is the most practiced thing you do. It's the public face, world see me this way. And I've learned in the growth and development within about 4 or 5 years after I began in 2008 and 9, I began analyzing wheels. Then I've learned that first wheel drawing is another public face. And I have learned, which I wasn't taught, and Pecci said, the Dr. Pecci, the board-certified psychiatrist, I will learn and grow more far beyond what he taught me.
Yeah.
And I have.
Yeah.
In fact, I've maybe seen more wheels than he's seen. When I was on a cruise ship, I started doing that. And then I went on for these various gigs.
Let's slow down for a second so that the
Yes.
people that don't know you
Yes.
will fill in a blank. When you said when you were on a cruise ship, didn't you do for 10 years do programs on cruise ships?
Before my wife got dementia and lost her way on a big ship to Barcelona, we were getting free cruises for analyzing the passengers on the big ships.
Yeah, so that's how you saw so many. That's
how I gathered hundreds of analyses. I'd love to do the talented people, the captains of the ship, the cruise directors who were so important, any personalities who were performing for them in addition to my performances for them when they were at sea, because the performances took place. They were selling land excursions and tours whenever they got inside the limits of a place they stopped. But when we're at sea, then they filled it up with entertainers like me.
Yeah, right. So, you tell us how you got into the Air Force. Why the Air Force?
Well, I tell you.
And how old were you?
Well, I was 19. I was just finishing up my first year of college at Northeastern. It's a work and school alternating type thing. Then the Korean War hit at the end of my first year in June of 1950. By September, my twin brother and I joined the Air Force. And I'll tell you why I picked the Air Force. Was I could have been drafted. And I was not a good swimmer. I was so thin and muscular, I sank easy and couldn't float easy. So I didn't want the Coast Guard or the Navy. And I had experience as a Boy Scout camping out on wet New England hills, rocky hills. And I didn't like sleeping on the ground, hard ground, in a tent and all of that. And I didn't want to go crawl around and shoot anybody. My brother was a Marine. I heard how he trained and what he did. I'll take my chances in the air, I said. So I went in the Air Force and I started technical things. And then I began flying. And it never got boring.
Okay,
it was risky at times, but it never was boring.
When you say you started flying,
yes,
were you the pilot?
No, I started as a radar observer because I had.
What is a radar observer? Isn't a radar observer? What is a radar observer?
A radar observer has a screen, and he has radar, and the airplanes that in World War II they had them. At the end of World War II, they were reciprocating air double twin engines. And what they did, they look out in front of you, and that beam of energy goes out and hits what object is out there, flying saucer, which I went and chased one time. We didn't get there. We tried it. That was in Labrador years ago, so it's been going on for years. It is there, it's true. Anyway, so that beam goes out and hits that object, an aircraft or what have you. It's out there in space and it bounces back. So you know the distance, you know the position, all that. So I'm back there, and the people on the ground who pick it up that an airplane is off of where they're supposed to be at a certain time, or they're just unknown airplanes, they think. And they spot them out there some 150, 125 miles from where these antennas shoot that energy out.
So wait. So I'm slowing this down for the purposes of people who don't understand.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that on the ground is somebody is somebody who mans these beams that go way out and find incoming.
Yes, and that antenna is going on a 360-degree circle around that station.
Okay.
That radar on ground radar intercept is called.
Okay. Then when do you see it on yours if you're behind the pilot on the jet?
All right. What happens? They pick it up on the ground, unknown airplane. We got to know what it is. They're coming across into our border of Canada, in my case, or the U.S. when I did it for Logan Airport when I was going to school. Anyway, we scramble. We're already set. The equipment is in the airplane, okay? We run like firemen. We climb up and get into the cockpit. The ground people, the mechanics are helping us strap in and buckle in. And we're ready to go, and they crank it up. And as they crank it up, we're getting suited in and tied down, okay? We hit the button and we blast off on a short runway, a short taxiway to the runway, and within 5 minutes we're airborne on the way, and they're giving us the route to fly, the altitude, the direction we go.
And when they say, when you say they, ground
intercept radar, we're in touch with them.
Okay. When you say we, are you seeing something on a screen and you're
So
telling the pilot?
When I got within the equipment we had at the time that I was serving in 1954 to 58, I was doing that work first for the active duty and then active reserve at Logan Airport, Boston, and Grenier Air Force Base, Manchester, New Hampshire. While I was going to school, I was doing for them on active duty. Same time I was going to school. So anyway, we basically then, when we got within about 25 miles, give or take a few miles.
Air miles?
Yes, of the object that we were directed, what altitude to go in at, no matter what, any kind of weather. We sat at Goose Bay, Labrador. The saying was printed out there outside the hangar. We fly when the ducks walk. That means in the soup, in the clouds, in the rain, in the snow,
right,
and ice. We come in close enough to that object. I direct the pilot in. I am the director. As soon as we pick it up on our radar and ground radar, first the tower cleared us to get off the runway in the airport, and then we're turned over to the ground intercept people. Then they direct us to when we can pick up that object, that unknown whatever.
Right.
Then I take over, and we got to come in on our head on, circle around and come in on the tail. And very quickly, within minutes, 30 miles is nothing.
Oh, yeah, no.
We're talking seconds, folks.
Yeah.
Where you got to jump and do it.
Yeah.
And you got to get in close enough at night or in the weather at night. I take out an Aldous lamp, which is a very strong beam of light, and I shine it up on the tail of that unknown airplane, and I describe what type of an airplane it is, the country that goes with it. I read off the tail numbers to make sure it's one of our friendly.
Right.
If it's that bogey is not our friendly, they need to know right away. And we're told, well, guys, if you happen to be run out of rockets, first we had machine guns, the first airplanes up there I flew, and then it was 104 rockets, 52 in each pod of a twin-engine jet, where I had room for my big feet. So anyway, otherwise I was stiff from the first one, so like this. And I was worried about that radar set screen that was in my lap almost. If I had to eject, I might lose my knees.
Yeah.
I was worried about that. And stories that go with that, but you don't have time for that now.
Yeah, that's a whole nother, that's another
aspect of the risk I took.
Well, the thing is, for the purpose of people listening, my plan is, because you've got a lot to talk about. My plan is to kind of give people an introduction today, and then what we want to get into another time, probably in a week or so, because you're a busy fella. You know, it's not like you don't have anything going on.
I'm a raconteur, in case you didn't know. You know what a raconteur is?
You tell them what a raconteur is.
It's a storyteller.
Well, you know,
you're not very interesting if you're not a storyteller. Don't you know that?
This is true. This is true. But what we're going to do, we're going to end today with you holding up. Listen,
I'm just having fun.
Well, you can have fun all the time.
Okay.
Hold your book up for them and make sure we can see it on screen. No, there we go. Wait. There we go. Hold it just like that. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's The Modern Day Renaissance Man, A Spiritual Odyssey by Joshua H. Batchelder, husband, citizen, soldier, father. This is his newest book. He's got a whole bunch of others. You can put it down now, Joshua.
And lots of good stuff in the back, too.
Yes. What we're going to do is I think the next time we meet, for the purposes of doing this, because I would normally on a podcast, I would connect people. I'd be in my studio connecting via the internet, but it involves a lot of technology that you're just not up on. It's not going to happen. Don't know that your computer is so old. We're using his camera from the from the computer, and you can see the quality has really gotten a heck of a lot better on the new versions. But that's okay. It's perfectly fine for the purposes of what we're doing. So next time, I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to discuss the spiritual journey that you've been on through your life, the various turns that it's taken, because this book is a spiritual odyssey, and it's the modern day Renaissance man, and how it's your spiritual odyssey. Uh, what is a Renaissance man? How can young men today who are looking for good guidance on what that looks like? And we'll go into some of these things and let you tell some stories behind that. I think it would be beneficial, but it will take another episode. Um,
Well, I would look forward to, because I want to help people to appreciate their talents. I'm excited by two areas in handwriting else. One is talents, and because I had to learn compatibility where I was single for 17 years between marriages, then I've got a lot to share, folks. It might save some of you who are objective to get lessons earlier rather than getting or recognizing the mistakes you make that's the same as what I made. It might be worth something to you, at least to understand what the hell happened.
Well, I look forward to doing that. So, for the purposes of this video, Joshua, say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you, folks, and I hope we meet again. I'm only 94.
Joshua's a hoot. I've known him for 25 years, and thank goodness we live close to each other. And I helped him with a series of books that he did that were for his family only, and it was a memoir dealing with his family and family history, and so would never need to be published publicly. But his family has really benefited from knowing a lot of this stuff. You know, I asked my I've asked my mother questions about her mother and her father, and she has no clue. None. And what she did tell me about him, well, I, it's a long story. It doesn't matter. And I don't want to say anything right now about it. But the thing is that Joshua, he's always been that kind of a hard charging, let's get her done, and interested in everything. And that can tire out some people. Um, I can understand that. When you're married to them, or you're their father or their mother. My kids are worn out from just being around me, I'm sure. So anyway, this was it. We will be putting all of this stuff together, these videos, these episodes, on my YouTube channel under a playlist called Josh Batchelder or Joshua Batchelder, one or the other. If you'll note the Chiron at the bottom, if you want to email him and say that you saw the video, or if you want to visit his website to see the other stuff he's involved in and the books that he's done, then please feel free to do it. In the meantime, I am going to say see you later, alligator, and see you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. Pretty soon, baboon, but it won't be tomorrow afternoon. Oh boy, words, they're great. Talk to you later. Bye.